Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
A very determined and very respected lady, Rosa Parks, said this, and how true it is. The church was and is the foundation of our community. It became our strength, our refuge, and our haven. Amen. And I hope it stays that way. Good morning, here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. We need a patriot to call with the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's not be lazy now. Come on, good morning. Oh, good morning, and we're back in the saddle again this morning at Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and of course, the best of tires, the best of brake service, everything at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today, 734-6969. Let's go to the phone line and get somebody on with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, how are you today?
Doing well, thank you. And you?
Well, I'll give myself the ability to hold my opinion until about 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Give us the pledge, please, Linda.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, that was perfect. Are you going to be a lunch bunch tomorrow?
I plan on it.
Ah, that beautiful voice. God bless you. Thank you for the pledge.
And you're very welcome, Zeb. See you tomorrow.
All right, thank you. That is a wonderful lady. I'm so proud and happy to be able to call her my friend. Linda, thank you very much. Oh, it is time for the weather. And the weather brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Hey, listen, they have all your flooring. Pick out your new flooring at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, tile, wood, carpet, lots of different varieties and colors to choose from, and really increasing the value of your home. That's right, Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Yep, look for the blue door. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we're moving along, and we finally hit midweek stride. Partly cloudy skies for today, slightly breezy. High of 50 with an overnight low of 26. Tomorrow, even better, sunny skies. High of 53 with an overnight low of 29. As we get ready to move on into the weekend, Friday, sunny skies. High of 58 with an overnight low of 37. Saturday could be a game changer. Winds picking up out of the west to about 30 miles an hour, bringing along with it some afternoon rain showers. High of 50 with an overnight low of 32. Then hopefully calming down for Sunday, partly cloudy and 46. Yesterday's high was 41 and the overnight low is 23. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, she does a great job. Thank you, Gina. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. The weather forecast at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Mighty fine folks. You know what? Now, there is going to be a rippin' fun, good eating time going on at Magic Valley Tire in Paul. Yep, Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire over in Paul. This Saturday. They're going to have that chili cook-off contest and then followed by a chili chili feed, and it's free. That's right. Let me tell you, this is going to be fantabulous. They're going to be serving that chili from 11 to 2 with the delicious cinnamon rolls, and they're going to give the chili entrants first, second, and third prize cash prizes. Oh my goodness. For more information, contact Sir Max at 438-8444. Going to be a lot of fun over there in Paul. By the way, too, I want to say thank you, as I always do. These folks, really dear friends. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Hello, Ramsey's. They open the door at 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. And all your electrical and heating needs. I'm serious. Go in. You'll see they've got an inventory that's huge. And everything and anything that you need for the betterment of warm winters and cool summers. That's right. And just go in and talk to them today. And if you need to call ahead, 678-0459, they'll have your order waiting on the counter at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Do you know what tomorrow is? I look forward every month to Lunch Bunch. Yeah, buddy, I do, at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. They roll out the red carpet for us. They roll out the red carpet for you. Every day, 365, America's Diner. The food is fantastic, and the people are so nice. At Denny's Restaurant, you stop in and see them. 611 Overland in Burley, and the other location of Denny's at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. I'm telling you, they always provide the very best in service, the best in food at Denny's Restaurant. And tomorrow is Zeb's Lunch Bunch at Denny's at 11:30. We'll see you there. Trump won Nevada. He won the Nevada caucus in a landslide. All the numbers aren't in yet, but about 46% of the vote. And there were record numbers of caucus goers, and it looks like Rubio came in second. I know not. You say, what do you mean, Zeb, it looks like? Well, keep in mind that they didn't start the caucus until 9 at night, and that's Nevada time, and it went way into the wee hours, and a lot of the vote tabulation and final counts and everything, but it looks like Rubio was second with about 24%, and then Cruz with 21%. Here was something really interesting, though. The exit polls showed that 86%, this is really a large, astounding number, 86% of the people on the exit polls said they like Trump because he tells it like it is. Very blunt and forthright. And every time Trump does something, every day, and no matter what he says to open his mouth, it's going to get the press. This guy is a genius at milking the media cow. I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like this in my life. And the others that are involved in the race, including the Democrats with Sanders and Hillary, they're just sitting back drooling, wishing they could get that kind of coverage. The Republican establishment, very scared about Donald Trump. I mean, I've talked to people back in Washington, D.C. with the various think tanks, and they're telling me the establishment of Republican GOP is scared to death that he's going to end up sweeping this thing. But you know something? I'm not saying I'm a Trump advocate. I'm not going to say that I'm going to push and promote and vote for Trump. I haven't yet on this program, and I'm not for quite some time. But I will say this, that they, the Republican establishment, made him, Trump, bow before their throne when they asked and demanded that he would stay a Republican with a signed writ. And they basically, on that day that he signed that writ of promise, welcomed him into the fold, because I honestly believe they thought he would be a one-bullet Barney. Well, that one-bullet Barney turned into a machine gun with a lot of clips. Trump hasn't gone away, is not going to go away, and there's a good chance, like if you want to use some terminology down in Vegas, he's going to run the table. He's way ahead. And the establishment politicians, to which I have learned to despise, are absolutely cowering in corners, pulling out their hair and gnashing their teeth. What are your thoughts about this? You know, I think it's open for discussion this morning. Do you, in simple terminology, I don't want to get into a lot of all these different means and ways and everything else. In very simple terminology, do you want Donald Trump as your president? Or do you want the likes on the left for a reestablishment of another 4 years minimum of Obama, want Hillary? What are your thoughts on this morning? Because right now it looks like, honestly, I don't think Trump is going to lose another state in the primaries. I don't. I think he's going to envelop all the votes necessary. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. It's something to be really concerned and educated about. Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Burley, where am I at here? Mini-Cash Sales? Yes, I'm at Mini-Cash Sales. That's where I'm supposed to be at, and I want to say thank you, Zach. What a nice guy. The whole crew over there is so nice, and if you're getting money back from your tax returns, oh, lucky you. Here's a great idea on how to spend the money. Do some of that remodeling on the house. Add to the value of your house. And they've got all the lumber packages over there at Mini-Cash Sales to choose from. Caller, I'll be right there. Maybe you need to fix your roof up. They got all the shingles. They've got everything over there. Stop in and visit with them. And new doors, too. We bought a door from them. Mini-Cash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. And they bring you on Tuesdays Dr. History. Really nice people. Caller, I'll be there in a minute. Stand by. Don't go away. Also, don't forget, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Oh, Deanne, make a note. Remind me. I got to call Nick today. Please remind me of that. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Deanne's writing as I speak. Helping you get back to being you. Absolutely. They do a wonderful job with all the exercises, the hydrotherapy pool with the treadmill. Oh, the only one of its kind. And they know how to help you. So please call them today for an appointment. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Caller, thank you for your call. Good morning.
Mr. Bell?
Yes, sir.
Donald Trump reminds me of somebody here. I think that somebody is you.
Oh, really?
He tells it the way it is. He's sick and fed up with politics as usual. And we need to clean house and maybe start over.
I cannot argue with you on your basis of fact regarding what we need to do, because I'm really concerned. Caller, when you look at the situation today in the world and here in the United States with world security and the growth like a cancer of ISIS and Al-Qaeda that want to come in and kill us and change our way of lives, and you look at the economy and you look at we're trying to pattern ourselves after Europe, which I think is absolutely brain dead to even go there. How concerned are you as you were 10 years ago? I mean, this is really a downhill spiral, is it not?
It's sickening, maddening, whatever you want to call it. You put money in your 401, you're losing your shirt.
Yeah.
You can't get a decent interest rate if you try to put it somewhere else. And, I don't trust the currency we're using necessarily. It's all we have, other than, I think buy some silver and gold. Yeah.
But, may I be so rude as
backup, but
yeah,
it worries me. Food's long-term food storage, and ammunition. I mean, the right to bear arms is something I hope we don't have to worry about. But
Let me ask you a question here.
What if?
Let me ask you a question quickly, sir. Pardon my interruption, but if I may be so rude as to ask you, how old are you?
55. Almost forgot.
All right, 55. Well, you're a lot younger than I am, but let me ask you one question in accordance with what you just said about money and savings, etc. Are you prepared for retirement?
I still have a way to go, but yeah, we can make it if, you know, we bought a new home, but we're paying 2 extra house payments, you know, so that we'll have that sucker almost paid off or paid down, you know, come retirement.
I really respect you on that.
A few years younger.
Well, I respect you on that because I'll say this. I was doing some research on this retirement issue. Now, I am not. I'll be very honest with you. I did not adhere to some of the facts and figures and the scaring that I should have listened to back in my 30s and 40s. And I honestly think we can retire, but not at the level of enjoyment of our golden years that we want to. But my question to you is, with the attitude that this government that we now have against senior citizens, against Social Security, against senior involvement, what are your thoughts and your fears about looking ahead for the next 10 years?
I'm worried about Social Security. They're stealing from us. I don't know if we'll see it. I'm also medically retired.
I see.
I'd rather work 90 hours a week.
Yeah.
I like to work.
Yeah.
This has been hard for the last 5-6 years, but thank God I had a little private disability that I paid for and kept. Otherwise, I could make it, but it would be a struggle.
Absolutely. Sir, thank you.
So it's tough. It's not something I like. It's something I have to tolerate.
Yeah.
That's my ability.
Absolutely. God bless you for your call, and you're always welcome on this show. Thank you very, very much for calling in.
Thanks,
very nice man right there. You know, I'm kind of skipping ahead here a little bit, but thanks to that gentleman that just called, I will skip away. Can you retire? Can you retire? Are you planning now for your retirement? And a lot of people out there in the audience are probably saying, oh, old Zeb, emphasis on the old. Old Zeb is going to talk about retirement. Well, I'm not trying to alienate anybody in the audience, but I will say this. If you're 30 years of age, if you're 45 years of age, or if you're 65 or older, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm almost ashamed to admit this, but I'm very open and honest about subjects on this program, and I use myself and some of my mistakes as what not to do. I can remember vividly shaving one morning, looking in the mirror when I was 45 years old, and all of a sudden a fear swept over me about, holy cow, Zeb, what have you done for retirement? What have you not prepared for? What are you going to do? And looking at the situation in this country today, with what's being done to put us even deeper than $19 trillion in debt, and the lack of respect from politicians to the senior citizens that have helped build and form and mold this country, yeah, I'm scared. I have done all I could in the last 20 years to try to build up somewhat of a planning and a program for retirement. But that gentleman said just a minute ago, and he's so right, you can't put any stock in Social Security. But on the other hand, you can't put any stock in any kind of a savings account because of a complete lack of interest. And you know what really gets me? You've worked hard. You've been out there with your hands to the shovel or whatever you've done all your life and earned that money. and you put it in a savings account at the bank, or you put it somewhere, and you've already paid the tax on the earning and everything, but old Uncle Sam, good old greedy uncle, when you go to draw that money out, he's going to demand that he takes 20%. And that to me is so frustratingly wrong. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Because if they think you're making a lot of money off the interest, guess again, buckwheat. Calls are welcome. Come on, give me a jingle. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. 3 locations to serve you. Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, have they got equipment. Here, they've got it lined up all over at all 3 locations, let me tell you. Whether it's the big Doosan loaders, but they can do anything, or whether it's the Bobcats, the skid steer loaders, or whether it's the Coyote tractors, or get ready for spring and lawn mowing with the Walker mowers, they've got it all. They've got it all, and they can teach you how to run it, too, out back. Oh, they got a great big playpen. Barry Equipment and Rental, they have the equipment to get the job done right. Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. You stop in and see them today. You know, what about your health? What about, your medications? Need a lot of money for that. What about the protection of your home? All of these things, if I don't mean to scare you this morning, but really, sit down tonight when you get home and take a look at what you do have, what you don't have, what you think you're going to get, and how you're going to get it for retirement. You know, there's so many people, and I talked to a banker about this about 2 years ago. I said, and he knew my financial status, and I asked him, I said, you know, I never started worrying about this until I was about 46. And I said, I'm embarrassed about that, and I'm also embarrassed with the amount that I have in various accounts for retirement. And he looked at me and he said, I'll tell you what, on a scale of 1 to 10, in comparison to a lot of business people that do business here, you're an 8 and they might be down at a 2 or a 3. They didn't make any plans. They put everything into their business, and they have nothing in case that business fails. And I think he's probably right. There's a lot of stories like that. But I'll tell you what, with this kind of an administration and the liberalization of our country with the likes of Obama and hopefully not Hillary, definitely not a socialist like Bernie Sanders, I highly suggest you start making plans, or at least educate yourself on where you are today. Right this minute. Look at the whole picture. Your health insurance. Look at the whole picture on what your needs are. Look at the whole picture about the kids and their education if you still have them at home. You'd better start looking now, whether you're 30 or whether you're 65 or older. And make a file and make it accessible and make the information up there in that file to the point where you can upgrade it, look at it, study it, and try to make improvements. I will say it's never too late. But if you haven't done anything to really find out where you are, you're in trouble. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. I am going to go over there tomorrow and see Dr. Christine Pickup and have a nice visit with her. And I suggest you call for an appointment to have a hearing screening. You know, when you're having trouble hearing, you're going, hey, Martha, what did he say? You don't want to sit there and not enjoy what's going on around you. And it could be many problems about your hearing loss. It could be something with your heart. It could be something with your kidney health. It could be something with maybe depression. Well, take a hearing screening and find out what's going on. It's kind of fun, really. I enjoyed it. Call for an appointment today, 312-0957. 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Okay? Be sure and do that. Oh, by the way, let's also tell you about Sophie's Chatterbox. Oh, my goodness sakes, what a great place to go eat. What a great place to have them bake something for you. Now's the time to order your St. Patrick's Day sugar cookies. Sophie, if you're listening over there, please, just send one in the mail. I love sugar cookies. Plain sugar cookies. I love them. And the great restaurant on Thursday, they get chicken fried steak every Thursday. Oh, my goodness. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Really, really good. All right, callers, give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Backbone, spine, and toughness. John Wayne attitude. The Republicans may be showing some of that. When they said no yesterday, they will not confirm or have hearings on O's nomination for the Supreme Court. Good. You know, I love this. And I love hearing the liberal Democrats, the dimwits, come on and say, well, they can't do that. Well, my golly, that's obstructionism. That's the word they're using. You're going to hear a lot more of the word obstructionism, whether it's with Josh Earnest, the White House spokesman, or whether it's with Minority Leader Harry Reid. You know, Harry, please, if you get an opportunity to retire and go back to Nevada or wherever, please take it and get out of the public eye. I am so sick and tired of Harry Reid. Well, in a letter written to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell yesterday, the GOP members of the Senate Committee on the Judiciary said they won't. That's a pretty good word right there. They won't hold a hearing on President Barack Obama's expected nomination to fill Justice Antonin Scalia's seat in the wake of his death. They're not going to do it. They said they will wait until after a new president has been sworn in. Yeah, well, Harry Reid, he's all bent out of shape, man, I'll tell you what. He said the following quote, "The duties of the Senate are set forth in the United States Constitution. Nowhere in that document does it say the Senate has a duty to give the presidential nominees a vote. It says appointments shall be made with the advice and consent of the Senate. That is very different than saying every nominee receives a vote." Well, Harry, I hate to break this down to you, but I have that right here in my hands, as a matter of fact, the Constitution of which you're speaking. And when you look at the words advise and consent, let's just take the word consent. If they don't want that nominee, they will not give that nominee the consent. They will not say yes to that nominee. And so the Senate is doing everything that is legal to stop and block, if you will, a liberal left-wing nut that Obama wants to appoint to the Supreme Court. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. It's interesting how the Democrats and even the liberal Republicans, the neocons or whatever, the rhinos, they totally ignore the Constitution. Then all of a sudden they drag it out of the dust or out of the file 13 in the corner, and all of a sudden claim to be constitutional experts and interpret the way they want to.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to listen to earlier in the program, but have you commented about the Times News editorial about the refugee situation here in Twin Falls or Magic Valley?
Well, as a matter of fact, Adrian, I did yesterday at great length, and then I saw that editorial this morning, and I'm just going to take a little time on that right now to share with you that the Times News has done everything they can to denigrate those of us with a different opinion about refugees and Muslims coming into our area. And some of the verbiage that they used in their story, like narrow-minded, xenophobia, and all this, absolutely made me even more committed to fighting what they're trying to do to exhaust our culture and try to bring other cultures in, and I'm against it.
Well, here's the whole deal. Most of the people that spoke against the refugee center, and that was the majority, they even pointed that out, and still the city council decided, despite all of that, the fact that this advocacy group heisted the Twin Falls City as one of the sponsors of this, or in cahoots, they got wrapped on the knuckles. Unanimously, they voted to go ahead and send some liaison, spend our tax money in this futile effort.
Yeah.
The thing that they're just totally ignoring history. Even the history, go back to the history of this country, and its founding, the Pilgrims sent a boatload of furs and so forth to get back to England and this was 1625, to get goods. Guess what? It never quite made it to England because the pirates, the Muslim pirates, captured the ship, stole everything, put the people into white slavery down in those Arab countries, and they did this with hundreds of thousands of people. It is not a religion, it's a theocracy, it's a political agenda that they will kill us if we don't convert. This has been going on forever, and if we don't learn from history, we're bound to repeat it. And here, the Times News and our city council just put their head in the sand. They don't study history, and if you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Well, and here's the thing, and I got to run Adrian and do a spot, but I will say this. When people like Councilman Greg Lanning and others say, well, we're all immigrants, yes, we are all immigrants, but at this time in the world's history, when we have an ideology that wants to take over every segment or part of the world and literally damn and kill those that don't go along with their ideology, we have to be extremely careful. Quick sentence to wrap it up. Don't go long because I got to take a spot. Go ahead.
Okay, well, the bottom line is Phase 3 of Islam's conquest of the world, they declared war on the world. Senator Risch says, well, we're not at war with Islam. Well, Islam's at war with us.
Absolutely.
So people, we better wake up. People need to get hold of Senator Risch and other elected officials and realize that this is not just a religion. It's a political ideology, theology, and theocracy to control the world. And if we allow all these refugees in here, they'll either kill us or they'll overpopulate us and take and put in Sharia law.
Got to run. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well said. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Good day.
All right. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, I got to tell you right now, Cordell and Patty Sheridan have put their life's work into creating and establishing some of the greatest cattle programs, and they're going to have another great big bull sale coming up on March 5th. Oh, my goodness, Sheridan Ranch Bull Sale, and it's going to be March 5th at the Burley Auction Yard in Burley. Lunch provided at noon. They're going to be selling 85 great bulls with free delivery up to 300 miles, and they're also going to have a guest consignor, Deep Creek Ranch, Dennis and Cindy Tim. I'm telling you, these bulls are excellent. This is what you're looking for, boys, I'll tell you. And all you have to do is be there at the Sheridan Ranch Bull Sale, and that's going to be on March 5th at the Burley Livestock Auction Yard. For more information, call Cordell and Patty Sheridan at 824-5531. Oh, by the way, too, our buddy Doug. Haven't heard from Doug this morning. He's probably all sleeping in over there at his new location. That's exactly exactly right. I want to talk to you a little bit about Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. He bought this business back in 2009 from Ted's Diesel Electric Service. Left the name the same for a while, but now he's going to change it to his. He deserves the credit. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. And he can rebuild starters, alternators, generators. He can fix everything from the itty-bitty lawnmowers to a great big choo-choo train. And he's open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair, 635 21st Street, El Fresco Road in Hayburn. All right, it's your turn. Give me a jingle. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Another item that I think all of us should start clamoring and demanding, no. Do not close Guantanamo Bay. Do not close Gitmo. I was talking to some folks yesterday in various parts of the country, and especially the people in Colorado, Kansas, and South Carolina. They have said emphatically, no, we do not want those worthless human beings that are terrorists, that have vowed to kill us, that have vowed to bomb us and destroy us, being relocated here in the United States that would create a possible hostage situation with the bad guys, the ISIS and the Al-Qaeda, and possibly cause a complete disaster for the residents in those states and for all of us here in the United States. No! Leave them where they are. Leave them at Guantanamo Bay. It's an excellent facility for the lowest of the low. But yet Obama is absolutely defying the law. He cannot do this on his own. And he's defying the law and trying to strong-arm this issue of closing Guantanamo Bay and bringing these worthless human beings here to this country. And I'm not going to back up on my words. They are worthless. They have made every vow to kill you and I and kill the Western culture of life. They've got to be stopped. They being the government. They being Obama and his group. And I honestly think that we are going to have to really become rabble-rousers. We are honestly going to have to make a lot of noise to our senators, congressmen, everybody involved in any kind of leadership, and look them in the eye with a clenched fist and say no. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Well, there you are.
I had the pleasure of speaking with somebody who was served at Guantanamo for a while. And they was telling me, talk about low-life people. They would save up their body excrement.
Yes.
And would throw them.
Yeah.
At the guards.
Yeah.
Just save it up, throw it, spit on them, and basically are just lower than humans. I know they're a human being, but... No,
they're a subhuman. They are subhumans for their attitude and their actions, and I've read all about these accounts of what they do and everything, and it's absolutely filthy. But on the other side of that coin, Doug, our military, being so strong and so stalwart, they didn't do and they can't do anything in return.
That's where something needs to change. We need to get it back to where they're in prison. They're not at a health spa.
There you go. Yeah.
I seen that deal on news this morning where the guy showed their living quarters.
Yep.
Showed everything that they have. They've got 300 channels on TV they can watch.
Yep.
They don't have orange jumpsuits like a lot of the media likes to portray. They have regular clothes. They even got an arrow under their bed that points to Mecca so they know which way to face when they pray.
And that drove me, of all the things that were given to them and afforded to them, that drove me completely over the edge this morning. That we had to take the time and the effort to make sure that they knew where to get down on bended knee and pray. That shows you a distinct difference between you, the terrorists, not you personally, I'm just saying you, the terrorists out there, and us as Christians. We can bow down any place, any time, any direction, and pray to our Lord, a loving God, whereas they sit down, they got to know which way to kneel, and this drives me nuts.
Yeah, me too. And what are we going to do with the ones we capture from now on? Where are they going to go?
Exactly. You see, what we're doing, Doug, what we're doing by opening up the door of bringing them here to the United States, we're opening up a Pandora's box of where you might not believe this and people will scoff at this, but they're eventually going to be afforded the same judicial rights and privileges that we have, even though they're terrorist killers.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very, very true. And you put them in with the prisoners, like I mentioned yesterday. They're going to get some recruits.
Absolutely.
And what a better place to recruit than a bunch of people that hate America.
There you go, Doug. I got a weather forecast to get in. Thanks, buddy.
God bless.
Caller number 2, I'll be with you. Do not hang up. I promise. Give me 60 seconds. Please hang on. Don't forget our friends at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness. They offer a wide variety of unusual and attention-grabbing items like pens and fun brain-bending puzzles. Oh, yeah. Along with everything else for your business promotional items. And I can tell you, they make the best. I guarantee I've had them do a lot of work for me. Nobody does it better than Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we're moving along and we finally hit midweek stride. Partly cloudy skies for today, slightly breezy. High of 50 with an overnight low of 26. Tomorrow, even better, sunny skies, high of 53 with an overnight low of 29. As we get ready to move on into the weekend, Friday, sunny skies, high of 58 with an overnight low of 37. Saturday could be a game changer. Winds picking up out of the west to about 30 miles an hour, bringing along with it some afternoon rain showers, high of 50 with an overnight low of 32. Then hopefully calming down for Sunday, partly cloudy and 46. Yesterday's high was 41 and the overnight low is 23. That's your weather for Zephyr the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina. And the sponsor of the weather, Mad River Laser. Hello, Nicole. Lovely people at 502 East Street in Rupert. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it.
I agree with you on the whole closing of Jetmall. We should not be doing it. This president doesn't understand what a military tribunal is. He doesn't understand the military. He's made some very poor choices. And, if we let these people out and we put them in our prison system, they're going to escape, and then they're going to be causing problems here at home. We're going to have a bigger thing than 9/11.
It very well could happen to some degree of what you said. Caller, thank you very much for your viewpoint this morning. I always appreciate your call. Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
You know, the caller just said something, though, that I would arbitrate with a little bit, and that's that Obama does not understand. I think Obama understands perfectly what he's doing. I think Obama understands very well the havoc that he's going to wreak on the American system. And I also think Obama doesn't care. I don't have much respect for this man whatsoever, and I think it shows in my commentaries. I look at this situation to where the terrorists would be on an island surrounded by water, sharks, and other things. And if they break out, where are they going to go? They're going to be captured and or shot. That's a good thing. You bring them here to this country, and maybe they will not break out. But look at all the other problems that could be incurred by bringing them here to the United States, especially with the current prison population. I want to remind you, you've heard of my dear friend Kyle James. Well, let me tell you, they are opening up another new location for urgent care, and it's going to be in Twin Falls. It's going to be at 2392 Addison Avenue East, right there by Kmart in Twin Falls, and the grand opening is next Monday. My goodness sakes, and it's going to be fantastic. A lot of great services comparable to what they have already in Burley and Jerome, on-site digital x-ray, and laceration repair, stitches, broken bones, flu, cough, everything they want to serve you. Walk-ins, no appointment necessary at Urgent Care of Twin Falls. Grand opening next Monday at 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. You know what? The Bible says in Romans 1:28 that the Lord will turn those over to a reprobate mind. Reprobate meaning wicked, just an awful, nasty person. And if you don't have a love for the truth and a love for God, then guess what? And what those people have been turned over to is a reprobate mind that are in Guantanamo. And I feel bad for the people that have to be their caretakers. And like you said, they may not escape if they come here, but what kind of detriment are we putting those that have to be their guards and caretakers in? And what kind of life would that be? I don't want that job.
Amen. You know, stay on the line with me for a minute. When you think about the Bible and you think about different chapters that really tell it like it is, there's a lot to be said for Romans, especially the verse right before 128, and that's 127 about the homosexual lifestyle, etc., to which the liberal left is really espoused in this country. And when you start thinking about all the condemnations that are in the Bible that we as sinners that are trying to make a better life for ourselves should not fall into their pits. Today, our own government is creating those pits.
I understand that. And boy, I think that you hit the nail on the head, because I think Obama knows exactly what he's doing. This is a plan. It's been a plan from day one. And he may not have been the mastermind, but he's the tool that they're using to fulfill whatever plan it is, sick, depraved plan that they have for this country.
I agree. I agree with you. And I want to say thank you very much for being courageous to call and voice your opinion. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Thank you much. That lady told it just like it is, and I agree with her. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget, they're in the final days of the big Founders Celebration in honor of Mr. Les Schwab at all the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness. Great savings on tires. Well, you can get some tires as low as starting at $39.99, all-season tires, economically priced. Oh, yeah. And, of course, you know the very best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. But above all, these people are so great and the best in service. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Big Chili Feed over there this Saturday, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today, and we're very proud. They have been our major sponsor for many, many years. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Talk to me, caller. Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Zach.
Yes, Tony. Go ahead quickly.
Yeah, some years ago, the FCC was supposed to clean up all this stuff that's on TV, all this sex and everything. It's getting worse and worse and worse, and the only thing that's decent...
No, I lost him. Wheels, what happened? You have to turn him up a little bit louder. I'm not getting a good feed here this morning at all. So, did his cell phone die or what happened?
I think so. It might have just cut out because maybe he might not be in range.
Okay, well, I know where he's calling from. He is in range. But anyway, Tony, if you're still listening, your phone cut off on us and we lost you, so I apologize for that. And I am going to ask...
It's probably my fault.
There you go, you're back. Go ahead quickly, Tony, state your case.
I'm on a cell phone here, and something must have gone wrong.
Okay.
Okay, I'll call you back tomorrow.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much, and I agree with him. The filth that's on TV, Tony was making a point there. You know, I'm 68 years old. I've been around the horn once or twice, and I darn sure have been to a couple of hog callings and a county fair in my lifetime. I never thought that we would see a degeneration of our media, especially during prime time like we are now. I don't see anything funny about these sitcoms. I don't see anything good about what's on during prime time. As a matter of fact, and my wife is on the other room, you can ask her anytime you want to. The channels that we basically watch are ESPN, the news channels, and the old Western movie channel. That's it. Because I know I'm not going to be subjected to garbage, filth, homosexuality, and others that are just absolutely doing nothing more but trying to tear down our moral fabric in this country. And I think Tony's 1,000% right that television absolutely is pathetic. And it's going to get worse. Now, for those of you that like that kind of garbage, you're part of the problem. You really are. I'm going to take a little break, and coming up next hour, I got Dave Bego from Indianapolis, Indiana, and then at 9:30, I've got a young man and his grandpa, George Mass, and Adam are going to be here talking about flag respect in the schools, and we've got all kinds of good things coming up. Later on this morning at 10:30, the University of Idaho president, Chuck Staben's going to be on the phone. We're going to talk about high cost of college and other problems with colleges and universities. Stay tuned. Zeb at the Ranch. I'll be back in 6. Oh, good morning and welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, all 7 serving you. Be sure and stop in and see them today. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, my goodness sakes, with spring, hopefully right around the corner. Yeah, look for it. There it is. And, of course, all the different things going on outside, whether it's events, weddings, fairs, company picnics, whatever, be prepared to call Western Waste Services and rent the porta potties. Can't forget those. Number to call, 734-6969. Locally owned and operated, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. Also, don't forget, too, our friends at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. They've got everything, all your carpet and flooring, all your home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home, they are the best. And they're going to be on the air with us tomorrow, too, for a little bit. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Really, really nice folks. We're going to have Dave Bego on the line momentarily. Stand by. But first and foremost, I also want to remind you about our dear friend. What a super nice gentleman he is. Joel Heward and his family and staff over at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. It's true, very flexible hours to serve you and your family. They're always there when you need them. And when there's the passing of a loved one, everything is just thrown up in the air in a short period of time, and you need someone that can help you, and they will. Always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Please call them today, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Right now, go to the phone lines, and I always look forward to Wednesdays, and I get the businessman, entrepreneur, great author, Dave Bego. Good morning. How are you?
Sir, I called him a few times, and he wouldn't answer.
What number did you call? The new number that Deanne gave you?
The 317-813-1492.
No, Deanne said she just emailed you another number.
Oh, okay. I will check on that.
All right, hurry and get that number she emailed to you, okay? All right, thank you. While we're waiting to get Dave on the line this morning, and I know he's at the other number that we sent over to Wheels, and hopefully we'll get him on the air momentarily. I want to remind you, too, this coming Saturday the 27th, great big chili cook-off and free, underline that word, free chili feed over at Magic Valley Tires, Les Schwab in Paul. Yep, the judging is going to start at about 10:30, and they're going to have first, second, and third place prizes. And then, of course, the free chili feed starts at 11 and goes till 2. You're going to love it. All the cinnamon rolls, the chili, everything. And for more information, call Sir Max at 438-8444. That's going to be a lot of fun coming up on this Saturday. While we're waiting to get the establishment of the call between Dave Bego, and we'll have him momentarily, let's also not forget Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, with the best of all the ATVs. Wow, have they got a selection over there for you? I mean, stop in. If you've never owned one before, those are the folks to check with for a lot of fun outside, because that's where the fun is sold. And by the way, if you do have ATVs and you need to get them serviced before this spring, right now is the time. You be sure and give them a call at 436-4771. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24, where the fun is sold between Rupert and the World. Wheels, do we have him on the phone?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good morning to a very dear friend of mine in Indianapolis, but I don't think he is this morning. Good morning, Dave Bego. How are you?
Well, good morning, Zeb. How you doing?
Where are you today on the map of the United States?
I'm in sunny Florida right now.
You know, now, about this time of the year, Florida does start to have quite a bit of humidity. How warm is it down there?
Well, it's only about 73 degrees, and it's not very humid, although we're supposed to get part of that storm out here later today.
Okay.
So
well, be safe out there and enjoy Florida. Every time I've been down there, I really enjoyed the state, but also I look forward to leaving.
Why is that?
Because of the humidity and the heat. It's hard on a fat guy.
No comment.
Okay, thank you. I want to start off things this morning with the presidential race in the GOP for the Republican Party. You know, I honestly think it's a done deal, David. I think that Trump is going to run the table. I don't see how anybody can form the opposition to go up against him. I could be dead wrong, but of all the states and all the think tanks that I've talked to, it's kind of all said and done. Would you agree with me or not?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. I mean, he was ahead by, 18 to 20 points in Nevada. And even though I guess the turnout wasn't real great and the balloting was kind of a mess, but, the other ones, I think America is just tired of conventional politics. And, well, you know what I don't get, Zeb? I was watching Fox News last night, and, a couple of their top analysts said that they think that this is just a short-term thing, that Trump really doesn't have a chance in the long run, and he can't beat Hillary.
That I don't understand, because here we have a man that is not going to hold back. He's going to let it fly. As a matter of fact, going to last night in Nevada, 86% of the people that were in that exit poll said the reason that they voted for Trump was because of the fact that he tells it like it is. I think that's going to carry over into a general election, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I think that's what people want to hear. And, you know, as I mentioned many times on your program, when I fought the SEIU, I did the same thing. Now, I don't think I was near as crass as what he is and how he does it. I think I was more polished, and but he tells it like it is, and you know he's trying to expose these people. I just wish he'd clean it up a little bit.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about that. The GOP, they knew what he was, and they knew what he would remain to be when they went to him and they said, okay, if you're going to run for a Republican nod, then you have to sign an affidavit that says you're not going to jump away from the Republican Party and go back to being an independent. He did that. He jumped through their hoops. Now that he is taught everybody that he's going to be the front runner, he's got the GOP establishment just quaking in their boots. Now they're figuring out every way that they can treat him like Julius Caesar and try to kill him in the election. What's going on here?
Well, I think the Republican Party, Zeb, and I've seen this the many times I went to Washington fighting the unions and against the Employee Free Choice Act and dealing with people in the Midwest, that too many of the politicians today, it's an old establishment type thing, and it's just, business as usual instead of making fundamental changes in this country to save it. And I think people see that. And the Republican Party doesn't want to change that because, it's their way of life. I mean, they enjoy it, and they just don't want to change what they're doing.
Let me ask you this, Dave, and I have the utmost respect for your accomplishments as what you've done in the business world. But when you started in business, you probably had some rough edges that had to be kind of refined and polished down. Now, as a president, can Donald Trump make those refinements, or if you will, that polishing down a little bit so that he can be a representative of the American people? What do you think?
Well, Zeb, I think it's possible, but I think he needs to get people in there to talk to him. And, I've been trying to get in front of him, and hopefully when he comes through the Midwest, I'll get a chance to talk to him a little bit. He has my book. And I hope that he will get some people in that understand that, the things he's trying to do with the border and the budget and other things are necessary, but there's a way to go about doing it. And you can get the other side to negotiate with you and do what you want them to do if you do it the right way. And you don't have just to run roughshod over them to do it. I've learned that with the unions. You just have to show a stern demeanor and a backbone and do it in a professional way, and you can win.
Dave, one of the things that I worry about Donald Trump, I'm not saying anything against Donald Trump because I personally haven't made my selection yet as to who I'd really like to get behind. However, do you think with his bravado and his absolutely I can do this, you can't attitude, that he will, if he's president, follow the Constitution, or will he be above the Constitution?
Well, that's interesting. I've heard people compare him to Obama, that he will just do what he wants and kind of be like Obama. I've got a phone and I've got a pen. And I think that, he'll push the limits at times, but at the end of the game, I think he'll follow the Constitution, knowing that he needs that support to accomplish everything he wants to do.
Okay, now let's take a look at this down the road, and I know this is all speculative, and nothing's concrete yet, but let's look at a race between, on the liberal Democratic side, Hillary, heaven forbid, against Donald Trump. There have been those that supposedly are know-it-all pundits that say that Hillary will wipe up the floor with Donald Trump. I can't see it that way. What am I missing?
Well, I can't either. Like I said, I saw that on Fox last night, and I was just, as I was watching it, I was shaking my head because I know if I was facing somebody like Hillary Clinton, I would expose her for what she really is, and not because she's a woman or anything else, but because who she is, what she stands for, her ethics or lack of ethics, and what she's done in the past. And I would make sure that the American people know. And I'd also go after and explain her belief in socialism and what that brings to the table, and that it really doesn't work and why it doesn't work, so that some of these young millennials and younger people understand that truly capitalism and the free markets are the best way to go. Do we have problems with it? Absolutely. I mean, do some big businesses get away with stuff they shouldn't, and banks and that? Absolutely. But, you know, the government is not doing anything about them. That's the real problem.
Do you think, Dave, that if she is the nominee, and if Trump is the nominee, and they start having the presidential debates, that automatically Trump is going to be thrown under the bus if he attacks her, and much of the American public perceives it to be a gender card relationship to the point where he's looking down on her primarily because she's a woman?
Well, he can get that out of the way right away because, Zeb, the unions did the same thing to me. They said that I was against blacks and whites and women and Hispanics and everybody. Yeah, well, not whites, but women and Hispanics and all that. And I made it very clear in my speeches, and when I talked to people and customers and employees, I said at the beginning almost of every speech, I would say, look, I don't care if people are white, black, yellow, pink polka-dotted, or what their religion or sexual background is. That's not what's important to me. What's important to me are the good people that care about America and doing the right thing, are the ethical people. And I just want to get that off the table right now. And once I did that, you could just see the change in the room with the people, and my opponents couldn't go after me.
Yeah. I would assume that you have seen the tapes of the CBS interview with Hillary, and she was asked if she has ever lied. Now, I've taken a couple of courses in psychology and body language, etc., and all of a sudden, when Hillary got this wide-eyed, deer-in-the-headlights look, kind of leaning back, why? No! I've never lied. What did you think about the truthfulness of Hillary?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, body language, and that's what I encourage people all the time, is not just listen to the words that people are saying, but watch the body language, because that will tell you more than the words coming out of their mouth. People can lie and say anything they want to say, but their body language most of the time will tell you what their true response is to the question or what they're saying. And, that's one of the things I always noticed with President Obama. He was up there saying all this rhetoric and misinformation, misleading stuff and that because he was trying to brainwash people. But you could tell by his body language that he was, he wasn't telling the truth. And the same thing with the union bosses. It was the same thing. And this is one of the things I mentioned to, again, employees, customers, and other people that were listening to these union bosses. I said, watch their body language. That'll tell you a lot more.
Absolutely. I want to talk to you about Justice Antonin Scalia and his funeral, Obama a no-show, and then right after the funeral, within hours after the funeral, Obama cracking jokes to the press and the news media about his duties of trying to refill that seat. I thought it was totally inappropriate, and it showed to me another niche in the no-class situation of Obama. Would you agree?
Well, absolutely. Obama is, as we've talked about, Zeb, he really isn't about this country. And, I actually had one of the followers of my book and my blog send me an email because he had read my blog about last week about Scalia and that and what that means to this country. And he says, Dave, he says, I think it's an indication that Obama's not a real Christian. He's a Muslim in hiding, and he didn't want to go to a service like that. And I found that interesting coming from somebody that read one of my blogs.
Absolutely. Let me, in the time remaining, kind of shift gears here a little bit. And you as a businessman, you as a family man, and you as a concerned American, your thoughts about Guantanamo Bay. I have been very blunt about it. I do not want those worthless human vermin in the United States. I don't want to see any chance of them getting into our prison system. I do not want to have any chance of any escape. I do not want any chance of these people turning the prison system into one of their ideology courses for pro-Muslim growth. I'm scared about what Obama is doing with Gitmo. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you 100%, Zeb, and there's no reason to do that. We have the facility there, and we ought to use it to protect America, not for Obama's agenda. And it goes back to what the guy that answered my blog said. What's behind all this? Is it because he's a true Muslim? And I think we have to worry about that and the fact that he continues to allow refugees into the country. We have open borders where they're saying a lot of people from the Middle East are coming through at the Mexican border. He's fundamentally trying to change this country, just like he said when he became president.
You know, Dave, we're going through a real problem here in the Magic Valley. We've got a Times News newspaper, if you will call it that, along with our local college, the College of Southern Idaho, really pushing for more refugees and, quite frankly, more Muslim refugees coming in from Syria. And the newspaper is calling people like me and others narrow-minded xenophobes because we're against it. I, more than ever before, am against refugees coming in from anywhere in the world to the United States until we get a validated system of finding out who and what they are and what they want to represent. And I'm a xenophobe? I don't think so.
No, I don't think you are. And, I think you have to go after these people and say, why? Why do you want to do this? Give me your real reasons, okay? You just think because you want to be nice? What is your real reason? Because, what we're doing is we're destroying this economy by doing it. We're putting ourselves in danger and American people in danger, and that's flat wrong. That's not how this country was established. We're a nation of laws. And if people are going to come in this country, they got to come in through the legal laws that we have and have background checks done and everything. And if we don't do that, we're putting America at risk. And I think we need to challenge these people that are in favor of this.
One quick remark to this, too, Dave. We're also seeing a depletion and a complete demolition of our American culture, and that's something I want to preserve. I'm not ready to have all this diversity going in different directions like a shotgun.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, again, we were, as I'll say, that we're a nation of laws established on certain principles and people in that. And if people want to come to this country, that's fine, but they got to do it the right way, and they got to do it over a period of time. And what we need is people that are dedicated to this country and growing this country, because it's the greatest opportunity the world's ever seen for people to grow and succeed and do the right thing. And just letting people come here doesn't help them. And they say, well, they got to stay over there in the Middle East or whatever. Well, the Middle East has been like that for 2,000 years. It's time those people woke up and understand they need to go in a different direction, not come after us.
Amen. Great way to wrap up the show today. A dear friend of mine, great author with The Devil at My Doorstep, The Devil at Our Doorstep, has a weekly blog. He really knows what's going on. Business entrepreneur, Mr. Dave Bego, now in Florida. God bless you. Have a wonderful trip and enjoy yourself, David. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and stay warm up there.
Not as warm as you. Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Dear friend Dave Bego, thank you very much. Hey, right now we want to tell you about Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Deanne, send it. Oh, here comes the crew. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Don't forget they've got all your health insurance. They've got life insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. They know. And George, not that one. Thank you. Deanne, help him out a little bit. Don't forget they can help you with all your insurance insurance needs, all you have to do is just give them a call. Make an appointment today at 436-2244. No, 4424. 436-4424. I've said that number 1,000 times, and I got it wrong this morning. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Make that appointment today to make sure you're covered. 436-4424. They are serving you. Really nice people. Also, when we talk about really nice people, we also want to talk about Urgent Care of Twin Falls. Brand new location for Kyle and the rest of the crew, and they're going to have their grand opening coming up this next Monday, the 29th. Oh my goodness, yes. Where are they located? 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin, right there by, Kmart and in that area by Harley-Davidson. You can't miss it. Beautiful new building, Urgent Care of Twin Falls. And they've got all the same services to take care of you, on-site digital x-ray, and they can help you with the broken bones, the sore throats, the flu. You just make sure that you can walk in, no appointment necessary. You bet it. Quicker, less expensive, and serving you. Along with the Burley and Jerome locations, now the new one opening up next Monday, Urgent Care of Twin Falls. Well, George, we're going to have you get on the microphone first this morning, and then we have a special young visitor that you're going to introduce here in just a moment. And what are you doing over here, George Mass?
Well, we're doing a little bit of promoting for my grandson and Kelly Anthony, Senator Kelly Anthony.
What kind of promotion?
Well, the start of the story, when I come back from Boise last year, testifying against the flag at half-staff and had a roll call.
Yeah.
On the way back, Adam was up there with me, and he says, Grandpa, we need to get flag education back into school.
By the way, his name's Adam Fowler.
Adam Fowler, yes.
And Adam, pick up the microphone and hold it real close to your mouth, and you just look me right square in the eye, and you tell me, where did you come up with this idea for flag education?
Well, I just knew that a lot of kids and adults were abusing the flag, so I thought that we needed to get it back because it would teach them. So on the way back, I was thinking that if we could get, like my grandpa did, getting the flag down to half-staff, we could get flag education back into school.
Well said. And by the way, can you hear okay in your headset? You can hear me? Guess what? We have Senator Kelly Anthony on the line right now. Kelly Anthony, our beloved senator, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Zeb, and good morning to George and Adam.
Well, now, Kelly,
it's a pleasure to be with you.
It's a pleasure to have you call in, sir, and George and Adam are both listening right now on their headsets. What did you think about this flag respect that Adam Fowler, this young man, was trying to perpetrate up at the State House?
Well, Zeb, he contacted me last fall and really got me looking into this. What we had originally talked about was, do we need a statute? Do we need a law that makes flag education a part of our school system, or part of our education system? And as I dug in that for Adam, what I realized is we already have that on the books.
Okay.
And if any of your listeners are interested, if you go to 33-1602 of the Idaho Code, it's pretty impressive. The state legislature, over the years, has created quite a program to instill patriotism in our schools. And, I remember when I was about Adam's age, we had a pretty robust flag education program at Declo Elementary School, and it was put on by the veterans. So he caught my attention pretty early on, and I think he's done a good job. Let me tell you something, if I can, Zeb, about Adam.
Sure.
So here about a week ago, I knew I had the ear of some important people on this issue in Boise. And so I asked George and Adam to come to Boise and make a presentation. And as you're seeing right now, Zeb, Adam is a kid that has a lot of guts because he conducted himself with great composure. He was able to really articulate in a powerful way why it's important to have flag education in the school. So I congratulate him, and I'm just calling in to give my support to him. and hopefully drum up some support in our community as we work with the schools to get flag education back in.
Well, I want to say thank you to you. The choice to make you the senator for this area after Dean Cameron left and decided he would like to be the head of the Department of Insurance, it was an absolute great choice by the governor to appoint you. You've done a great job. I'm proud of what you've done. Senator Kelly Anthon, thank you so much for calling in this morning.
Thank you, Zeb, and you guys have a good day.
All right. Hey, by the way, Kelly, before you go, there's a young man that wants to say thank you to you, and it's Adam. Go ahead, Adam.
Thank you. That was very nice of you.
Well, thank you, Adam. And I think, I've been thinking about this. Adam's got a great future. And I've been thinking about something George Washington said, Zeb. He said that, if you want a virtuous and happy society, you start with the education of your youth. And that's why these kinds of programs are important. We need to instill in our youth a real sense of love for their country, the values that have sustained us for all these years. And for Adam to take that on, he really ought to be committed.
All right, there you go. Kelly, thank you so much. God bless you. Senator Anthon calling in this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Zeb.
All right. Boy, I tell you what, George, your grandson started a good, positive hornet's nest.
He did, and I've got to say that the committee up there with Senator Anthon was very respectful. You take a child, go up there and speak, but I mean, he had their attention. They paid attention, and for that, I want to commend him.
Let me ask you this question, George, and you've been a real patriot with the POW, MIA programs, etc., over the many, many years, and then, of course, that monument built over in Rupert, etc. Boy, are you kind of discouraged as to what's going on a national level as far as people just not respecting America?
Yes, I am. Zeb, you and I, we're not going to save the world. It's people like Adam. These young people is one that's going to save it. We can just try to hold on until we get a new group coming up to take responsibility.
Adam, answer this. Now, how old are you, by the way?
I'm 12.
12 years of age, okay. Now, where did all this come into your mind? Was it through your grandma and your grandpa as far as flag education? Where did you get all this idea to go and have the nerve? And I know most 12-year-olds would not want to speak to a legislative session. Where did you come up with all this?
Well, yeah, it had a lot to do with my grandparents because my parents didn't really teach me all this flag stuff. So, yeah, it was my grandparents.
Okay, so now what basically did you hope to achieve, Adam? What is everything going the way you wanted it to with people like Senator Anthon getting behind this and backing it? Is this what you wanted?
Yes.
Okay, now what do you personally want to see happen at all the schools?
I want to see that the schools don't argue with them and just take flag education back in.
Okay. Now, George, what is the basics of flag education that you think is lacking right now?
The basic of the American flag, the ethics and the code is what's lacking. In the past, it was the 5th grade that taught that.
Yeah.
There's an awesome program. Just teaches the basic on respect for the flag, how to fold the flag, how to put it up, when to salute it. Just the general basics.
I would imagine that most of us, and I'm saying us in the plural form of whether it's me at my age or younger people, whatever, a lot of us probably are lacking in the proper flag education.
It is. And, you know, when Senator Cameron, when he was senator, and I went for the Senate on this, the senator out of Ketchum really drilled him when we was trying to get the flag at half-staff. And Senator Cameron made the comment, and he says, I learned an awful lot. He says, a lot I did not know about the American flag. And so there's a lot of education.
Yeah, let me back up a little bit, and you might tell everybody as kind of a quick recourse as to what happened over in Rupert. You had the POW MIA monument, right?
Yes, and then we put in Idaho Roll Call.
And the Idaho Roll Call Monument, and it was very fitting for that Roll Call Monument of those that have passed on in service to this country to have the flag at half-staff. And then what happened after that?
We had a couple of people complain, and they leaned on a bunch of people, and the proclamation was pulled. And Kelly Anthon, who was the Senate administrator then, helped me along with Senator Dean Cameron. he says, we will get it back at half-staff. And they passed a bill. Senator Cameron passed S-1155. We testified for the Senate and before the House, and got the bill passed, and the governor signed it in July of last year.
You know, George, your grandson, you must be awfully proud of his getting involved in something like this.
I am. The greatest...
I can see you're not even able to wear a hat today because your head's so swollen, right?
Yeah, one of the greatest compliments I can ever have in life is when I hear the word Grandpa.
Oh, I know it. Adam, what do you tell other kids your age about flag etiquette and flag education? I mean, when you get together with a bunch of your friends, and I know that you are involved in a flag salute ceremony at various locations, what do you tell the other kids your age?
Well, we tell them, I tell them, just about the flag and what it means, and not to burn it unless if you're retiring it properly.
Okay, retiring the flag properly, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, now tell us how you do retire the flag properly.
Well, if I remember correctly, you're supposed to cut the red and white stripes. You burn that first, and then you burn the blue and stars last.
I see. George, you want to follow up on that a little bit?
That is correct. And then you got 24 hours to retire the ashes, which is land, air, or sea, to retire the ashes.
Along with flag etiquette and flag education, now, what are they going to do in the schools, George? How are they going to teach this? Is it going to be a special segment? Is it going to be a special class? I mean, what's going to happen from this juncture on?
If my memory serves me correctly, in the past they had about a week. They really drilled them on flag education.
A week out of the school year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they really drill them on that. Then the veteran group will go in and do our interpretation of it and give out certificates and get a question and answer period.
Okay. Now, is this something that is now going to go statewide? Is it only here in the Magic Valley? I mean, what's the focal point for the future?
I think right now we're working on Mini-Cassia. And hopefully Senator Senator Kelly Anthony will get the push to it statewide, and then hopefully our state will lead to get other states to do it.
Okay, to go through just the elementary schools or also into the high schools?
They learn it in the 5th grade only.
5th grade.
Yep, and they have a very good program on that. Ortho McGill has got a booklet out, and it's been used for years and years, that teaches flag etiquette. And if you get it, the youth know that's in the 5th grade.
Right.
You know, they're 11, 12 years old. Then that's something that's burned into them, and they carry that right on through their life.
It would be kind of a nice gesture, would it not, George, to have perhaps the flag etiquette on a certain day, whether it's going into Memorial Day weekend or whatever, published in every newspaper so we all could read what the proper flag etiquette is?
It is, and it's really not that much. Most of it's just good common sense and respect for Old Glory.
Yeah.
And also, Zeb, I'd like to comment on the Oakley schools, the high school and the elementary school. Mrs. Bedke and Mrs. Babbitt backs Adam 100%. I went to the other schools, and all the classrooms are going to write letters, and Adam and I will personally deliver them to Senator Kelly Anthony, to get education back into school.
Who were some of the other legislators that were involved in this along with Kelly, or was Kelly the main man?
He was the main man, but there's Scott Bedke, Fred Woods. They had the Cassia and Mendocino County superintendents, school superintendents, then they had the financial guy off that deal that was there.
Okay. But now, do you think that by being up there, and Adam, let me ask you this. When you got up and spoke in front of all these legislators, were you honestly just a little bit nervous when you did this?
Yeah, right before we went in the room to speak, I got super nervous. But after I got in there, I realized there's not that many people So, yeah, I was a little nervous.
Now, did you have notes with you, or did you do everything just out of memory, or how did you present your case?
I did have notes, but I didn't pay much attention to it. I just didn't think I needed it.
Boy, I like people like that. You know, when I do commercials, I have highlights, but I don't have anything written down. And it sounds more sincere when you do it that way, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay. I've got to do a commercial right now. Would you mind for a minute if I take some time to pay the bills? Don't forget, everybody, Certified Pest Control. And the number to call Kevin, 219-7576. We have used him to get rid of our voles and our mice. I'm telling you what, they did a fantastic job. And now's the time to think about giving them a call. Excuse me. About taking care of your weeds. Pre-treatment time on the weeds. Make sure that they don't come up and they're not going to be a problem. And also on the trees, for your trees to spray for insecticides and dormant oil to kill the pests. Take care of this today. Give them a call at 219-7576. Let me repeat that number again, 219-7576. Call for a bid today at Certified Pest Control. They will work for you. They do work for you. 219-7576. Also, real quick, I want to remind you about our friends at Red's Trading Post. I know George is familiar with them, and really good folks in Twin Falls. And, of course, they're located in Old Town Twin Falls at 203 5th Avenue South. They've got all the firearms, of course, from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, and Winchester. And, of course, the people that really understand all about guns. And all the amenities, too, like the accessories with sights and optics, all the knives, all the powder for the reloaders. They've got it all for you right there at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. George, I think it would be really great if Adam could be the quarterback and you could be the offensive line and kind of lead the way to get this thing going statewide. I think it's a great program.
It is, and I see it going forward. We get the support here, get the ground support going, and I think it will flourish. And I know Senator Anthony and Kelly will not give up. Both of them is just super people.
Hey, let me ask you this, Adam. Had you thought about maybe getting one or two or three of your friends together and maybe making an overture to where you could go back to Boise and maybe sit down with the governor and talk to Governor Butch Otter about this same program?
Well, no, I hadn't really thought about it, but I guess now it's an idea.
All right. You wouldn't be opposed to being the head man on that committee, would you?
No.
Okay. So what are you going to do from now on? What other causes are you going to jump behind and try to help your grandpa with?
Well, I'll jump behind and help my grandpa with almost anything. So.
If he leads, you'll follow, right?
Yes.
All right. George, what about your grandson, and what about other activities for respect for our nation's flag?
Well, I think Adam is super. He's just a child, really, but he's a very mature young man.
I agree.
He's very patriotic, and we're going to keep going forward. We're pushing patriotic stuff, programs. He's involved in the POW. Everything we do, he's a commander for Youth for Liberty.
By the way, how is that group doing?
We need more kids. The kids want to join, but the parents won't get involved. And
really?
Yeah, and we can't babysit them.
No.
But there's a lot of kids want to come, and they want to get involved in that.
And while you have the audience right here for a moment, before I have a weather forecast come in, Youth for Liberty, basically, what's the fundamental thought behind the group?
Flag education, teaching kids about flags. They post colors for the governor.
So basically what Adam spoke about to the legislature.
Yes, yeah. He's the kids I do have in that, I shouldn't call them kids, young adults, are very, very stern on what they believe in, on paying respect to Old Glory.
So what kind of an involvement or what kind of a motivating force do the parents have to be? I mean, what does it entail?
What basically I do is just deliver and pick them up.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
We've had a lot of them that wants to go, but the parents just don't take time out. We furnish their uniforms for them.
Really?
Yeah, it don't cost them nothing except their time.
Oh, my.
And the kids just thrive on it. I've done several programs at the school, and when I get through with what I have the presentation, I have a question and answer period, and you'd be amazed, Zeb, at the questions those children ask.
Really?
Yeah, it's you think you're going in there to teach them something, you walk out of there feeling a better person because they've got a story to tell.
Adam, what do you feel like when you see the American flag at a parade or at the beginning of an assembly or something? I know you're only 12 years old, but you're a very dynamic young man for 12 years of age to go to the legislature and talk about flag education. But what kind of patriotism feelings do you have when you see that flag? And hold that microphone real close.
Okay. I feel really proud when the flag goes by because I can be in this country, and that's why I hate people well, I don't hate them, but I hate when they burn the flag or cut it just to do it.
That's a good answer, the pride. And, George, I'll have you answer this part of the question. Just yesterday in Chicago, Illinois, the Black Lives Matter group, a bunch of punks and thugs, their protest against getting more, gimme, 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 they burned the flag. And that's disgusting, isn't it?
It is. But, they keep going what they're doing and use their liberties. Then they're going to say, where in the hell is Old Glory to give me my freedom?
Yeah.
They're just walking all over it, stomping on people that give them that right to be a jerk. And that's why the young people today do not understand the United States flag is just a piece of red, white, and blue cloth. But it's a symbol, and that's what matters the most.
But what I like to hear are stories about, like, Adam. And I've known Adam for quite a few years. You were just a little bitty guy when I first met you. And it's encouraging for me to listen to this young man and know that he is with other people in the Youth for Liberty and other young people involved in flag education. In other words, the younger generation, it ain't dead yet. There's still some hope.
There is hope. And this young man here, you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile on getting that education back.
All right. Hey, I've got to get a weather forecast in here real quick. And right now, here's Gina with our Magic Valley weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we're moving along and we finally hit midweek stride. Partly cloudy skies for today, slightly breezy. High of 50 with an overnight low of 26. Tomorrow, even better, sunny skies, high of 53 with an overnight low of 29. As we get ready to move on into the weekend, Friday, sunny skies, high of 58 with an overnight low of 37. Saturday could be a game changer. Winds picking up out of the west to about 30 miles an hour, bringing along with it some afternoon rain showers, high of 50 with an overnight low of 32. Then hopefully calming down for Sunday, partly cloudy and 46. Yesterday's high was 41 and the overnight low is 23. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Okay, thank you very much, Gina. Excellent job. By the way, I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions here, Adam. What do you feel like when you go to a parade with your grandpa, like at the Rupert 4th of July celebration? And give us your thoughts as a young man, 12 years of age, when you see people leave their caps on and they stay seated and they don't show any respect for the flag. What are your thoughts about that?
I really get angered when that happens because it's just not right to do that. So.
Okay, you get angry, huh?
Yes.
Okay, what about you, Grandpa? How do you feel? I've been around you when this has happened.
Well, I'm on the air, so I can't give an honest opinion, but it irritates me. A lot of times, and you've seen this so many times, that these young people are just sitting on their bus and you see some guy in a wheelchair, a veteran, stand up, struggling.
Yeah.
A good example is our buddy, Mr. Russell.
Absolutely.
He will not sit down when they're posting the colors.
Absolutely.
And that is just respect. Respect for our people.
They've given so much in previous generations, whether it was World War I, whether it was World War II, the Korean conflict, Vietnam, the Middle East, etc. and then to have people, I know they have the right, I know they have their freedom of speech and expression, but I'm just so happy that a young man like your grandson is taking the time to at least take time out of his young life to say, I want to learn about flag education and I want to help others learn too.
Yeah, when he really got into that, I thought I was going to get my backside whipped.
Why?
My granddaughter was having a veteran program over at Minico. And little Adam, he was real small, so he was standing in the seat and bringing colors down. And two guys in the back there was talking. He turned around and told them to shut up and put your hand over your heart. They were some big boys.
Attaboy, Adam.
But they did it. They did it. So.
You know, Adam, any other causes that you're involved in or anything else that you want to be kind of a lead activist on? What else is going on in your mind?
Well, not a whole lot.
Okay. What grade of school are you in right now?
I'm in 6th grade.
6th grade. And I'm going to ask you this question right now. What do you want to do when you graduate from high school? Go to college?
Yes, I do want to go to college, and I might want to try to be a senator.
You want to get into politics?
Yes.
Okay, now, naturally, you're going to be a conservative senator, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. And, Grandpa, what do you think about having to call your grandson in the future senator?
Well, Adam, why don't you tell him who told you ought to be a senator?
Well, Senator Dean Cameron told me that I'd be a great one, so...
Okay, so you're going to learn all about politics. You already know all about flag etiquette. You're going to study all the issues, and then eventually you're going to run for office.
Yes.
Okay, well, I hope I'm still around to vote for you, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, Kelly made a comment, too. Might want to put Adam under his wing, so there's going to be some grooming, I think.
Oh, my goodness. We need more young people involved, and this is great, George. I really respect you for helping groom this young man to go down the right path.
Well, thank you, Zeb, but... you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
That's true.
And
That's true.
Adam has the fortitude and self-respect and respect for others to be where he's at today.
What about and speak a little louder, George, it's not coming through too good. What about the other young men and women in the youth group? Are they of the same commitment like Adam is?
Yes, they are. Yeah, it's great camaraderie. They support one another. They put flyers out and everything else to get more kids involved, and they're not out for show, they're out for go, and
okay.
They're a good bunch.
Adam, are you going to, like on the 4th of July, are you and other members of the Youth for Liberty, are you going to have anything special to maybe at the city park in Rupert where you can talk to adults about flag education? Are you going to have a little booth over there or something? That's a good idea, isn't it?
Yes, it's a good idea. But I'm not too sure we're going to do anything. If someone wants us to post colors or something like that, we will.
Okay. George?
He will be up there. We'll have a booth. We'll be selling shirts, and the Youth for Liberty will be selling hats and stuff to raise money for their program.
Very good. George, any final thoughts? I got about 30 seconds left.
Yes. Zeb, you, Adam, and I, and the senators is doing our part. We need other people to get off their butts, get a hold of the senators, the governors, the representatives, and get this flag education moving.
Is there a number that you know that they can call, or just call up to the State House for Senator Anthon, or what would you suggest?
I suggest just flooding Boise with calls. Go from the governor right on down. Just load them up with calls. Tell them we need this in school, and light a fire under them.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you. Adam, any final thoughts from your viewpoint this morning before I have to turn you loose?
Yeah, I just have to say thank you, Zeb, and everyone that is supporting me.
You know, you're a good young man. I really like you. Your grandfather, sometimes we have a little, back and forth, but you're a good young man. You can be our mediator, okay?
Okay.
Okay, George, God bless you, man.
Thank you, Zeb.
I'm very proud to have you here. George Mass, Adam Fowler, and, of course, Adam led the charge at the State House with our legislators in getting flag respect back in our schools in the Mini-Cache area. Thank you very, very much. Hey, by the way, you've been listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. You be sure and call call them today for an appointment at 312-0957. Real quick, I want to tell you, coming up next hour, we've got Samuel Gregg on our program. He's the author of a new book called Becoming Europe. Very interesting man. And then at 10:32 this morning, we're going to have with us the president of the University of Idaho, Mr. Chuck Staben. And we're going to be talking about the costs of college educations and whether these kids are getting in too deep and whether they should look for other alternatives. What's going on with our colleges and universities today should be a very interesting conversation. All of this and more. Adam, tip your head this way just a little bit. Coming up in just about 6 minutes as Zeb and the Ranch continues. Right now, let's turn it over to Wheels at our central station. Oh, here we go. Hour number 3. And our thanks again to my dear friend George Mass and his really great grandson. He's a super young man, Adam Fowler, for being on the program last hour. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today, 734-6969. We'll have our guest with us in just a moment. Quickly, I want to remind you about Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. Good old boy. That's what he is. Doug at 635 21st Street, Alfresco Road in Heyburn. And it used to be called Ted's Diesel Electric Service. Well, Doug bought the service in 2009, and now it has changed the name to Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. Same great service, just a different name. He can fix everything from lawnmowers to choo-choo trains. So get a hold of him today. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair on Alfresco Road in Heyburn. Let's go to the phone line right now. And I really am looking forward to this next man being on my program because I've been afraid for a long time that with this current administration, we are always bending in the wind to the liberal side and adopting a lot of the European policies. He's got a book called Becoming Europe. And I say good morning to Mr. Samuel Gregg. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I hope all is well with you.
Well, thank you for being on the program this morning. And I guess first and foremost, Mr. Gregg, tell us a little bit about yourself. And I understand you're a director of research at the Acton Institute. What is that exactly?
The Acton Institute is a free market think tank that focuses upon issues of economic liberty, limited government, and rule of law. But we just don't make the economic case for these things. We try to make a philosophical and moral case as well. So when it comes to things like what you just mentioned, Europe and the problems that Europe is having, it's not just that we say, well, look, obviously economically, Europe has enormous problems. Europe also has some fundamental political and philosophical problems, which in many respects I think underlie some of its problems. But I would argue you can see maybe the same trend happening here, particularly this year in the middle of an election year.
Now, if I may, can I call you Samuel? Is that okay?
Sam is fine.
All right. Sam, let me ask you this. Am I wrong in my thinking that over the last 7 years we have seen a distinct change in personality of this government through Obama to adopt and adhere to a lot of the European principles more so than ever before? Would you agree with that?
Yes, certainly I think if you look at many of the policies of the current administration, it's very much focused upon what I would call developing a type of social democracy in America. So that's not socialism, but social democracy means that the state controls a large amount of the economy. I think now in the United States, the government controls something like 39% of the economy. That's getting pretty close to what you find in countries like Germany and France. But it's also a mindset. It's also a mindset that you want the economy to be driven by the state from the top down rather than bottom up, which is typically the American approach to dealing with the economy and any number of political problems. So I think in that case, what we're seeing in the United States, very much a drift towards social democratic policies, and I don't think there's any doubt that much of, let's call it the political left or modern liberals in the United States, that's what they want to see the United States come to like. They don't like the idea of the United States having its own distinctive vision in which liberty is given a very high priority. And if you want, I talked about values before. What underlines, I think, the current administration as well as many European policies is the sense that equality, economic equality is the priority, and it takes priority over freedom. If you ask most Americans today what do they prefer, if they have to choose liberty or equality, most Americans will still say they prefer liberty. They might mean different things by that, but that's what they have in mind. If you ask Western Europeans the same question, what they say is they value equality. But the other thing I think which is happening in the United States, which is very worrying, which we've seen happen in parts of Europe, is the rise of populism. And by populism I mean the rise of politicians such as Bernie Sanders or, for that matter, Donald Trump, who basically say, trust us, give us more power, we will do whatever it takes to get things right. And that's dangerous, I think, because what they're basically saying is that they don't care about the Constitution, they don't care about due process, they don't care about rule of law. They'd rather more or less appeal to people to say, don't worry about these things. These things are not so important. Well, I happen to think they're very important. I think that populism in that regard, when it starts to strip away some of those guarantees of freedom, it starts to threaten everyone. Look, people in the United States have very good reason to be angry and frustrated with their government and the political class right now. But populist solutions are not solutions at all. In fact, I would argue they make the problem worse.
Let me ask you this, Sam, right there. Let me inject this into the topic of populism. When I think of the word populism, and I think of the way you started to describe it, either with a Bernie Sanders, God forbid, or a Donald Trump, it kind of reminds me of the old Pied Piper just tooting his tunes and leading everybody over a cliff. And that's quite frankly what could happen here in America with the demise of our Constitution. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Because what populists do, whether they're from the right or the left, is they basically say you need to trust me as a person. You need to put your faith in me as a person rather than you need to put your faith in the constitutional structure that exists. And by making bold, brash, and frankly undeliverable promises, that's where populists, I think, do a great deal of damage, because they raise people's expectations to such a pitch that they can't possibly fulfill everything that they say they're going to do. So, for example, Bernie Sanders has said, if you vote for me, I will appoint people to the Supreme Court whose first priority will be to reverse Citizens United. Well, I'm sorry, but that's not the role of judges. If you want to reverse Citizens United, that's the role of the legislature. That's what that does. Or if you look at any number of things that Donald Trump has said that he wants to do, they clearly do not fall within the constitutional authority of the president. So while on one level they capitalize on what, as I said, genuine anger and legitimate frustration with the political system and with the political class, what they're promising, I think, is really an end to constitutional government as we understand it today. And that, I think, in the long term, would be a very bad step for the United States to take.
What I see, and help me on this, because I've been to Europe on a couple of occasions, but what I see happening now today, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, the European culture is one of more consolidated, less travel, less individualism, more control. And I think that is the storybook for the Obama administration and setting a precedence to take over the American people. And basically, with the high cost of energy and the economic situation, they could really implement the European attitude into this country, and it wouldn't take much to have more control over our people. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I think you're broadly correct. And in fact, if you look at certain parts of the United States, such as, say, California, or cities like Chicago, or much of the northeast corridor of the United States, they are effectively already there. They have already brought into what I call European mindsets when it comes to economic and political life, but also the economic way of thinking and acting about economic policy. It's all very much a question of top-down control. There's a desire to keep control by a particular elite You see this back and forth between the political elite and the economic elite. And that's all very, very characteristic of what happens in much of Western Europe. And the emphasis is upon control. The emphasis is upon making sure that you give people enough of what they want to keep them happy. And there's a type of implicit bargain that emerges. The citizens vote for whoever promises them the most stuff.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that you need people to be creating stuff in the first place. And if you keep redistributing it, then guess what? People lose an incentive to be creative, to be entrepreneurial, and to create wealth. And you can't even begin to think about wealth redistribution unless you're creating it in the first place.
Absolutely.
In the past 8 years, we've definitely seen a shift in that particular direction, which I think augurs very badly for the United States. On the other hand, I have considerable hope that I think that we're seeing a certain degree of reaction against that. The real question, I think, will be whether, let's say, the Republican Party can come up with someone who's pledged to reversing that. And I think, to be frank, Trump is part of the problem. It's because he plays all these games as well. In fact, he's said so. He's more or less said so when he's talking in front of large audiences. He's more or less said, yes, I do deals with politicians. I make arrangements with them. I pay them so they do what I want, quote unquote. That is very, very dangerous for the Republicans.
I agree. Sam, we have a caller with a question. Whenever you hear a moo of a cow on my program, it means a caller's calling in. Go ahead, caller, quickly with your question.
Yeah, it's more of a comment, but speaking of Europe, their policy on refugees has so destabilized the European Union that if you study it, you realize that it's really becoming a crisis situation, and I get the feeling that the media is covering it up. The European media is covering up what is really going on over there. And God forbid we let this happen here, and I'll hang up.
Sam, please respond to that. That was one of the points I wanted to bring out a little later anyway. Go ahead, please.
Well, the caller mentioned the refugee issue. It is very clear that the large number of refugees, and frankly, they're not refugees. Most of them are economic migrants. If you look at it very carefully, they are economic migrants rather than genuine refugees. Why are they going to Europe? They're going to Europe because, one, it's close, but secondly, because they're going to countries like Germany and Sweden because they know they can get access to welfare. They're very clear about that. They're quite open about that. They even make quite open choices about, well, I'd rather go to this country because it's easier to access the welfare state than in other situations. Look, immigration generally is a good thing. Immigration, when people want to migrate to a country, that tells you that that country is usually doing something right. But immigration plus multiculturalism plus big welfare states leads you to the type of mess that you see in Western Europe today. Immigration works if it goes along with a free economy, but also assimilation. You cannot have immigration without assimilation. And I think that is something that the United States is really going to have to confront. Because if you have immigration plus multiculturalism plus big welfare states, you start going down the path of Europe.
Well, then tell me, Sam, I'll tell you my stance very quickly. Bear with me for a moment. I have been very much against the inclusion of refugees coming into our area, especially where I live. And we really don't know about these people. They have not had a proper vetting system. And now we are hearing that we may be taking as many as 100,000 Syrian Muslim refugees. That being said, I'm voicing concerns on this program about the lack of knowledge, and then right away the liberal mindset in this country turns around and calls me a xenophobe because I'm against it, or a hate monger. Your response to my concerns?
Well, I mean, what you're, I think, concerned about, and rightly concerned about, is that many of the refugees who have left countries like Syria, we have genuine concerns that among them are people who are associated with ISIS or other Islamic jihadist groups. That is a legitimate concern. Anyone who migrates to the United States has to go through, or should be going through, rigorous checking to make sure that they're not a threat to the security of the United States and American citizens. So if the government cannot guarantee that it can thoroughly vet people coming in as refugees, or even just people who are coming as economic migrants, if they cannot vet them, if they say, look, it's impossible for us to vet these people, then you have a problem. You have to have sufficient vetting of anyone who enters the United States who proposes to enter. Otherwise, you end up again like what you're seeing in Europe, where we do know, for example, in the Paris attacks last year, that a number of the people involved had come from Syria as quote-unquote refugees. So what you're pointing to, I think, is just a very legitimate concern. It's not xenophobic, it's not Islamophobic or any other phobic that people want to attach to something. What it is reflecting a genuine concern about the capacity of the government to vet people coming into the United States from a war situation, and whom we know among which are surely a good number, and actually it doesn't really matter how many there are, even if it's a very small number of people who are intent on doing harm to American citizens. The first responsibility of government is to protect citizens from external violence and domestic violence. And if it cannot do that, then we have a problem.
You mentioned the words multiculturalism a little bit earlier in your dissertation, and I wanted to ask you about that. I am very concerned about the fragmentation and the dissolvement of our American culture, our American way of life. It's always been known as a melting pot. Everybody that came here wanted to assimilate into America. That's changed, and I'm not ready to have multiculturalism, and they call me an old stick in the mud. Again, am I right or wrong in my feeling that I still want to look up at that flag, the red, white, and blue, and know that that is America?
Well, you know, one of the geniuses of the American experiment is that it has always had lots and lots of people coming here because they want liberty, they want opportunity, particularly from parts of the world where those things don't exist to the same degree. Multiculturalism, however, what that does is say that, well, you don't actually have to become an American. You stay whatever it is you are. Now, assimilation doesn't mean that you somehow have to pretend that you didn't come from Italy, or you didn't come from Germany, or wherever country you came from. It doesn't mean that you have to give up your ethnic heritage. What it does mean, what assimilation does mean, is that you sign up to the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the principles and culture that affirm all those things. If you are not willing to do that, then you shouldn't be coming to the United States. Because that emphasis upon assimilation is what has made America work. It's helped America absorb people from very different backgrounds, different cultures, different parts of the world, even to a certain extent different religions. But once you move away from requiring people to basically say they are an American, and that means some very, very specific things, once you move away from that, then you start, I think, to fragment the body politic. And you end up with identity politics, which I think is a cancer on the United States. When I hear people on both sides of politics saying, well, we need to appeal to this group and to that group or whatever group based upon their language or their religion or what part of the world they came from, that leads to deep fragmentation because it encourages people to think in those sort of very narrow terms rather than thinking of themselves as Americans. If you want to see the failures of multiculturalism, go to Holland, go to Belgium, go to France, go to Britain, go to Germany. It's failed. Even major European politicians, even some left-wing European politicians are now saying multiculturalism has failed and has left us with deeply fragmented nations. And nations that are internally fragmented to that extent have a lot of difficulty defending themselves.
Last question, Sam. On your book, Becoming Europe, when people read it and close the last chapter, what are the thoughts that you want them to take away from reading your book?
Well, the first thing I think is that if you want to see one possible future for the United States, look at Western Europe. It is not a pretty future. But the second thing I say, and I tend to be an optimist by nature, is that America has this great advantage. It has the reference point of the founding. of the Declaration of Independence, of the Constitution, and the lives of great men like George Washington, like John Adams, like Thomas Jefferson, like Alexander Hamilton, all of whom had a very clear idea about what they wanted these United States to be, not just in terms of politics, but also in terms of economic life. Those things, those reference points, I think, still ring true. It's interesting, isn't it, that the political left never referenced the founding. They never reference the founding, and the reason they don't is that they know that the principles of the founding are antithetical to what they believe in, which tells us that if we're interested seriously in renewing America, America has this fantastic resource called the founding that it can go back to rethink itself and to reinvigorate itself. It's not as if the founders agreed about everything. They didn't. But what they were committed to was a vision of liberty, a vision of limited government, a society in which people were equal before the law. All those things, I think, in the way that they cast them, provides a very good blueprint that Americans can use if they're seriously interested in avoiding going down the path of Europe.
Now, I've got about 30 seconds left, and Sam, please tell everyone where they can find your book, Becoming Europe.
You can find the book Becoming Europe at Amazon.com, and if you're interested in reading about the article that I wrote recently on populism and what a danger it represents to freedom, go to The Stream, which is a news aggregation website which has a lot of very interesting articles, including this article on how populism threatens the American experience.
I've been very, very proud and honored to have you on the program this morning. Dr. Samuel Gregg, Director of Research at the Acton Institute, with the new book called Becoming Europe. Thank you, sir, and please come back in the future if you would.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you, sir. A very interesting individual, and quite frankly, he's spot on with his information this morning, and I'm very appreciative that he was on my show, Dr. Samuel Gregg, and the book is called, again, Becoming Europe. A very interesting topic this morning. Holy cow, we got to pay some bills. All righty, let's get right over to it. A great big bull sale, the 21st annual bull sale for the Sheridan Ranch Bull Sale this spring. Yep, coming up in a matter of days on March 5th at the Burley Auction Yard in Burley. Sale starts at 1 p.m., 85 bulls to sell, and they're also going to have a guest consigner, the Deep Creek Ranch, Dennis and Cindy Tim. This is going to be, and it has been in the years past, a great sale for you to find the bulls you need. Their program emphasizes calving ease, structural soundness, growth, moderate frame cattle, easy keeping cattle, all of this and more at the Sheridan Ranch Bull Sale for 2016. Cordell and Patty Sheridan, you can call them at 824-5531. Coming up on March 5th at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Don't you forget it. By the way, also want to mention real quick about urgent care of Twin Falls. I've just got the information, and they are going to have their grand opening is coming up next Monday, the 29th. Oh, my goodness sakes, Urgent Care of Twin Falls. They already have urgent cares in Burley and Jerome. Well, the new one, Urgent Care of Twin Falls, is going to be right there at 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls, right by Kmart. Can't miss it. And the grand opening next Monday. Don't you forget it. And the number to call, 933-444-40. They can help you. They'll accept all kinds of insurance, Medicaid, Medicare, and also have discounts for self-pay. Walk in. No appointments necessary. Quicker, less expensive, and great service to you and your family. Urgent Care of Twin Falls with the grand opening next Monday, the 29th on 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studios. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to our last half hour on Zeb at the Ranch for this Wednesday. And I'm very honored to welcome to the microphone this morning a guest that I've been wanting to get on my program for quite some time. He is the president of the University of Idaho, President Chuck Staben. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm great. A little bit of a cold, so you may hear that in my voice. I apologize. But I'm glad that we've finally connected.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to come on my program this morning. And because of a lack of time, I want to get right to some of the issues. President Staben, what do you think today about college for everyone? That seems to be the general thought in America today. Oh, everybody's got to go out of high school. They've got to go to college. Do you really feel that college is suited for everyone?
Zeb, I don't feel college is suited for everyone. Maybe I'm unusual in being a college president who feels that way. But having said that, I do think that post-secondary education is important for most of the students who graduate from our high schools and benefits almost all those students who go on to post-secondary. Post-secondary can include technical training programs, it can include community college degrees, and it certainly can include 4 years or advanced degrees. So even though I say it's not for everyone, I think it's for a lot more people than are currently benefiting from post-secondary education in Idaho.
And I agree exactly with what you said. But President Staben, let me go back in my Monopoly Board line of questioning. The reason I asked you that this morning is because of the huge amount of student debt, college loan debt, that a lot of students are assuming, and quite frankly, I think in many cases, they're not college material. And they're running up these huge debts, and they're getting into jobs or employment that they can't pay them off, and they're just not an asset to the economy. They're a negative to our economy. How would you respond to that?
Well, Zeb, college debt is an important issue. I'll respond more on the basis of our experience at the U of I, and I probably do have a somewhat different view of this. So the average student, so let me start by saying at the University of Idaho, about 2/3 of our students who graduate will graduate with student debt. And on average, their debt is right around $25,000 total. And I actually think that's a great investment in their future in general. Those students are likely to enjoy, we know from our economic work, almost $1 million in enhanced wages over what they would have earned as a high school graduate in Idaho. So to invest $25,000 now to make $1 million later is just a great idea. You know, we've actually been trying to figure out how to promote that idea to students. And one of the things that we have here in Idaho is a problem where students aren't going on to college. We're calling this the one pickup problem. Some students get out of high school, they decide they can take out a loan for $20,000 and buy a pickup, and they're pretty happy. When what they ought to do, in my opinion, is take out a $25,000 loan, get a great degree from the University of Idaho, enjoy $1 million, and buy a pickup every year for the next 40 years, not just one coming out of high school.
I like that thinking.
I have a little different view of this. Now, students who go to college and don't graduate and rack up debt are not going to enjoy that advantage. So you want to plan for success at college, you want to go to college, get a degree, get a great job, have a great career. And I think that's entirely possible.
Now, President Staben, let's back up just a little bit into the high schools. Do you think that guidance counselors today are really doing the service and doing the job for these students that are seniors and their whole world is going to change in the next couple of months when they are ready to go to school and or ready to go to a trade school or whatever? Are guidance counselors really helping them find the right path?
I think guidance counselors are helping our students find the right path. It's my impression, and I could not readily prove this to you, Zeb, that guidance counselors have a lot of different duties that they're assuming on behalf of the students, that they're essentially overburdened. And I think you saw this year Governor Otter and Superintendent Ibarra asking for additional resources to enhance some of the guidance and career counseling that we have in our K-12 system. And I think it's largely because although guidance counselors are doing these jobs, They need help. They need more. Our students need more investment.
When you look at the freshmen going to school, and maybe they're just taking general education courses or whatever, they're definitely in need of some guidance not to waste or create a lot of student debt. What about once they set foot on campus and they really have no clue as to whether they want to be a lawyer, whether they want to be a car salesman or whatever? What about guidance to help them on the right path at that level?
So when a student steps on the University of Idaho campus, you're absolutely right. They need guidance. Some students come, they're very directed, some less so. We offer a good deal of career guidance to our students. We're integrating our career advising and our academic advising. We offer programs like Career Coach, which is a specific way to find out what the ultimate pay in a profession would be, what are the job opportunities even within this region. So a lot of resources like that. On the debt management side, we actually offer a program called Better Education About Money for Students, BEAMS, trying to encourage students to manage debt effectively, to invest in themselves, but to not overdraw on those debt resources. And so this is an issue. We're very aware of it. And we're working hard to ensure success for Idaho students.
You know, President Stabin, when you think about the economy today and everything costs more money, but is there a concentrated effort from you and other presidents of universities across the country to try to figure out if there is a way to cut the costs of trying to get a college education?
Deb, yes, I think we are very conscious of the cost of college education, and you may or may not realize that the cost of higher education in Idaho per student has actually declined over the last several years. We actually offer our education, which I think is very high quality throughout our system, at a lower cost per student than we did 10 years ago. Nationwide, costs are actually similar per student to what they were, say, 10 or 20 years ago. But there are many people working to lower that cost, and I think we're always looking for ways to ensure efficiency and effectiveness.
You know, whether it's the University of Idaho or whether it's any other college or university in the state of Idaho or the Northwest or the United States, I guess an obvious question is, how do students find the right school to go to?
Oh, that's a good question. So, the fit for a student and the education that he or she seeks after high school is important. Students usually are looking for a particular academic program that can help them achieve their career goal. They're usually looking for costs, and they should look at net costs, the cost that tuition and room and board, etc., the total cost minus the scholarships they will actually receive at that institution. And they're looking for career outcomes. They're often also looking for experience, maybe where this is, location-wise. A great tool to help families find some of that information that is what is called the College Scorecard. It's a Department of Education, U.S. Department of Education effort to accumulate some of the basic information about college costs, career outcomes, and graduation rates. And I think you'll see that it's an easy-to-use tool and gives you some very quick ideas about the high-quality education that's offered in Idaho, and particularly at the University of Idaho.
President Stabin, you've been involved in education for many years and been to other universities like the University of South Dakota, University of Kentucky, and originally out of Illinois. You know the different college atmospheres and personalities. What makes you attracted to the University of Idaho, and what does it have to offer that's unique to other colleges?
Yeah, so I have worked in a number of colleges. I guess I'm getting old. But the University of Idaho is a very high-quality institution. We are a great research institution. We're a great educational institution. I'm attracted also to the fact that we are the land-grant college for the state of Idaho, which means we have a very statewide, I almost think, sacred mission to generate knowledge, to educate students, and to do that on behalf of the entire state. And we do that in a lot of ways. Many people in Idaho, I'm sure in your area, see our College of Agriculture Extension offices as one of the clearest symbols of us serving the state statewide. So it's a great university. I think we can serve our people even better, and the potential to do that is what attracted me to Idaho. Plus, turns out Idaho is a beautiful place, and I happen to like it.
All right. Now, President Staben, there is a lot of unrest and a lot of turmoil going on at major universities. Hold on, caller. I'll be right with you in a moment. I want him to answer this question first. There's a lot of unrest and turmoil at various colleges and universities. One that comes to mind, the University of Missouri, to where basically, in simple layman's terms, I think they've let the students run the institution instead of vice versa. What are your thoughts on problems that are occurring at universities today?
Well, students want to feel that their administration listens to them, and that's a very complex issue at the University of Missouri. I think probably the president needed to do a little bit better job of communicating to students his very real concern for them, for all students. I would simply say that here at the University of Idaho, we want to serve all of the students of Idaho. We want to serve all qualified students from Idaho, and we put a high premium on doing that. And we have a very productive dialogue with our students about their concerns. I don't see those tensions as being a major issue at the University of Idaho at this time.
We have a caller with a question. Go ahead quickly with your question, please.
Yes, Zeb, I hope this is all right. I've always just really been concerned about this. When it comes to the football program, I've always felt like maybe the University of Idaho should go back to the Big Sky Conference. They would travel well to Missoula, Bozeman, Eastern Washington. And I was just curious how you felt about that, President, and I'll hang up.
All right, President Staben, your remarks regarding the football program and the conferences.
So we're currently in the Sun Belt Conference for football, and we are, and I've been clear that we are in a process of being considered for renewal of that membership. We're looking at our options, and the Big Sky is a potential option, but at this point we haven't made a decision, and we're not really ready to do so right now. So, but the caller is certainly correct. There are a significant number of people in Idaho who feel that the Big Sky would be an appropriate home for our football program. And to be fair, there are many people who feel it's very important that we remain at the FBS level in a conference like the Sun Belt.
President Staben, I want to go back to a line of questioning that I had just a few moments ago with you about students and their change of attitude on campus. And quite frankly, I was appalled this week when I was reading about some of the Ivy League schools where students are more concerned about being activists, and they were complaining about their homework assignments, and instead of being students, they want to be activists. That's not what college is all about.
Well, college is a time of maturation for most people, and so college is an important academic time for those students, and yet it is also a time when their attitudes are changing. They're becoming more adult citizens. So I think students are going to explore some of these things. I think that's natural. I guess having been at colleges for a long time, I'm more accustomed to seeing that.
Some of the age-old questions and complaints revolve around, the college spends too much time on sports, or the university system spends too much time on their football or the basketball program. What are your thoughts about a happy compromise of both academics and sports?
So, I think athletics have a real place at the university. One thing that many people don't realize is that although athletics is one of the most visible parts of the university, it's actually a relatively small part of the university. The athletics budget at the University of Idaho is around 5% of our overall budget. so an important, visible, but not enormous part of the university in some ways. There's so much more depth to what a university like ours offers. So I don't want to minimize athletics, but there's a lot more to the University of Idaho than simply athletics. I hope that addresses your concern. Well, at the same time, athletics is fun. It's exciting. I had 2 children who are student athletes. Athletics offers our student athletes a chance to excel on the field, offers them a way to access their education through scholarships, and offers a great outlet for our other students and for our fans. So I think athletics has a real place, and a very important place at the university.
Well, not only that, but talk a little bit about the generation of income. I mean, you've formerly been at the University of Kentucky, and they've always been known as probably the premier basketball program in the country. And other top universities, that is a generation of income for the entirety of the college and or university, is it not?
NCAA programs, probably only about the top 20 programs generate any income for their universities. There are about 1,000 intercollegiate athletics programs, so something like 980 do not generate income for their institutions. They generate experiences for their students and for their fans. So our university does not financially profit from its athletics program, and that's completely typical. We don't financially profit from much that we do. We basically bring in resources to do the great mission that we have of education and research. So athletics is like that. We're, again, providing experiences for people, and it costs money to do so. You are right. Kentucky is a great basketball team and has profited the institution.
You are the 18th president of the University of Idaho, and as you sit at your desk this morning, you must have goals and aspirations for the university and also your tenure as president. What are they in the future for the University of Idaho?
Well, thanks, Deb. We're actually in the process of doing strategic planning right now, and that's been a good time to reflect on those kinds of issues. I would say my primary goal is that there are 2 primary goals that I have that I think the public would be particularly interested in. One is that we extend that transformative education that I believe has benefited Idaho and Idaho students to even more students. I'd like to see us at about 150% of our current enrollment by the time that I leave as president, and that we maintain quality and impact of that education. I also would like to see us build our research mission. We use the phrase ideas that matter to the world, ideas that matter to Idaho. One of the ways we will measure that is our progress towards what's called Research 1 institution. We're currently a Research 2 institution, which is very good, but we could serve Idaho even better by becoming a more active research institution. And I would say those are the 2 primary goals on which I'll focus roughly the next 10 years.
I want to thank you for taking the time and the effort to be on my program this morning. Please do not make yourself a stranger and come back in the future. President Chuck Staben, University of Idaho, thank you so much for being on the program this morning.
Well, Zeb, thanks for the opportunity to speak with your listeners. And I would also like to thank board member Debbie Critchfield, who I think connected us in the first place. And I appreciate her work on the state board and her willingness to get us connected and the opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. President Chuck Staben, University of Idaho. Thank you very much. Oh, my, I've got to get a weather forecast in here, and we're going to take care of that right now. The weather is brought to you by Scarrows Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Don't forget it's tax return meat bundle time. You got money coming back from the feds? Oh, my goodness. Why don't you invest in 70-plus pounds of beef and pork and chicken? Absolutely delicious for only $249 plus tax. Oh, it is great. From your hometown meat cutter, Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's Here's your weather forecast as we're moving along and we finally hit midweek stride. Partly cloudy skies for today, slightly breezy. High of 50 with an overnight low of 26. Tomorrow, even better, sunny skies. High of 53 with an overnight low of 29. As we get ready to move on into the weekend, Friday, sunny skies. High of 58 with an overnight low of 37. Saturday could be a game changer. Winds picking up out of the west to about 30 miles an hour, bringing along with it some afternoon rain showers. High of 50 with an overnight low of 32. Then hopefully calming down for Sunday, partly cloudy and 46. Yesterday's high was 41 and the overnight low is 23. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, she does a great job with that weather forecast. Thank you, Gina. And brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. I've known Don Scarrow for a long time, and they guarantee everything they sell, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Let's take a look quickly as to what we've got scheduled for tomorrow on the program. I've got just a few minutes. Of course, it's Thursday, and we've got our chamber report. Then we're going to have a very interesting interview with a doctor representing the Quick Care of Twin Falls, and we certainly are looking forward to that. Thank you very much. Along with Dog Nation, and Rita Ramsey's going to be on, and we're going to have our Cassia County School Days and all kinds of good things. But don't forget, tomorrow is Lunch Bunch Day at Denny's Restaurant in Burley. Everybody try to be there at 11:30 tomorrow morning for Denny's Lunch Bunch. Going to be great right there at 11:30. We'll see you there. And another quick note, this coming Saturday, the 27th, there is going to be a great big chili cook-off and free chili feed. Where's it going to be, Zeb? Well, it's going to be at Magic Valley Tires in Paul. Magic Valley Tires, Les Schwab in Paul with Sir Max and the whole crew. Let me tell you, this is quite an event. And the chili judging is going to start at about, I think, 10:30 in the morning. So if you want to be a part of the contest for your particular type of chili, be sure and call Max. Get entered at 438-8444. And they're going to have cash prizes for the top 3 chilies. Going to be great. And then at 11 o'clock, they're going to start serving chili and cinnamon rolls. Oh, my goodness. And it's free from 11 to 2. Don't miss it this coming Saturday at Magic Valley Tires, Les Schwab in Paul. Going to be a lot of fun. Oh, by the way, that leads me right up to my last sponsor today, and that's, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They are, of course, in the middle of their Founders Celebration, to where you can save a lot of money on tires. Absolutely. They've got a lot of the tires on sale during the Founders Celebration in honor of Mr. Les Schwab, like the Corsair MXT. This is for your pickups and your SUVs. Deep groove tread, very attractive sidewall tire, and it's on sale right now. You know they have the best in brake service, with, of course, professionally trained technicians and free brake inspections and estimates and premium quality parts and the brake industry's best warranty, along with front-end alignments, shocks and struts, and, of course, batteries. But above all, service with the best of people serving you. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Don't forget, we're going to be back here again tomorrow morning at 8:06, Zeb at the Ranch, and all kinds of interesting articles and stories. You've been listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure that you're hearing everything, and contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call them today at 312-0957. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06, where we'll start things rolling for about 3 hours. We'll go till 11 o'clock, and always remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless you and your family, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks, Wheels. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.